Hi, friends. Welcome to Getting Your Real Estate Life Together. I'm Tracey Hicks with All Things Real Estate. And today I have my friend Shelley Zavitz on. Hi, Shelley.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I say that all the time, but you know what? That's because I only have people on here that I get really excited about talking to. So there is a reason for that. And that's okay. So I'm going to introduce Shelley really quickly. Normally, I let them do it because I don't know a whole lot about them, but I've come to know Shelley over the years. I think it's been like one or two.
One or two. But we're like
So,
sisters now, so it's all
right,
good. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm going to give you a quick intro and then you can add to it. So Shelley is a realtor here in Portland, Oregon. She's at Dwell Realty, and she is also the author of Your First 365 Days in Real Estate, which is a really, really good book, whether you're a new agent or not. And she is launching some missions that we're not all the way going to talk about because they're time sensitive and we don't know when you're listening to this, but we do want to touch on that because she will have more to come. So we'll talk about that. What did I miss, Shelley?
Canadian.
She's Canadian.
The only Canadian that you know that doesn't drink beer, probably.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
Or like maple syrup. I can't stand that stuff. Yeah.
oh,
They
man.
kicked me out.
Did
They're
they
like,
kick you out for
honestly,
that?
it wasn't a choice. I'm in the United States for that reason.
Right, right. Okay. Well, let's start there then,
All
because
right.
this does fascinate me about you. And everybody has a story. And I'm the host. So I get to start where I want to. And that's where I want to start with you because I think it's so freaking cool what you did. And so let's talk about that. You were in Canada. How many years ago? Just start from there.
I moved to the United States in end of 2014.
Okay.
hmm I was in Vancouver, BC. My family's in Ontario, but when I was in my early 20s, I moved to Vancouver to start a job at The Beat, which was an urban radio station. And I was 23, packed up all my stuff in a hockey bag. How hilarious is that?
So
And
Canadian.
then one-way trip to Vancouver. Spent a lot of time in Vancouver, became a creative director for Virgin Radio, launched or helped launch 3 other radio stations. If you're ever in Whistler, I helped launch that one. And then I got married and decided to come to the United States. And one of the things that I did when I was in Vancouver was I would, with another partner, I would, buy condos and we would fix them up. And I got some sense of value, got some sense of what it was like to be an investor. I would not say there was anything. Actually, I know I was not anything huge.
Hey, we all got to
just
start
to
somewhere.
just to make sure the expectation is quite low.
Mm.
And then when I got down here, I was looking at like, what do I want to do if I don't want to be in radio?
Yep.
And I still wanted to write, but I wanted to write for myself. And I don't know, there was just this thing that I was like, let's just blow it all up. Since I'm going to a new place anyway, let's blow it up. So I did that. I was talking to a few friends. I had 4 friends in town, and they were like, you'd be a great real estate agent. I'd trust you.
In Portland, right?
Yeah, just so naive.
Yeah.
I know 4 people. I'm going to be a referral agent. Like, let's just
Sure.
come on,
Why
right?
not?
Like, everybody thinks that's a good idea.
Yep.
And then I started with a house and company. They had a great new agent program. And part of their program is that there was this like rookie of the year race. And my ego was like, yes, that
And
sounds
competitive
amazing.
side, hockey player.
No, I'm not that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I launched my business and I did quite well. And I was surprised by that. The first thing, that I kind of get into, the book is about things that I learned along the way, stapled by stories to help like figure out what the point is supposed to be. Cause I'm not a dry writer. Like what I used to do in radio was like write parody songs. I wrote
Right.
like comedy. So I can't, I just can't be serious about things. So I missed a goal at the end. I was bummed about it. And I was in the shower. I think it was like January. So it was like after Christmas. And, I was standing there and I was like, man, there are so many things I could have done differently. If I had known this and this and this and this and this so much earlier, then maybe I could have done it. And I was thinking about it. I was like, why wasn't there a book like that? Because I read a million, right? And a lot of them were about like growing teams or having like really large businesses. But like, what about just, how do you, where do you start?
Right.
What about those 10 doors?
Yep.
And so when I got out of the shower, I was like, I really think that I should write that book because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it anywhere. There were like some, because I did some research. It's like, there's nothing that's specific about building a business as a real estate agent. And that bothered me. So I had these cue cards. Anybody who's like had me help them write a book since then, they know I'm all about cue cards. You cannot organize your thoughts in a row when you try and write something. So I would like break them out into chapters. And I sent, the some of those to my coach at the time. Well, she's still my coach. And she's like, you should totally write that book. And we laughed about it. I'm like, I'm probably never going to write that book. And then I did. And I wrote it in 8 days. And I don't know why it just like barfed out of me.
Right.
And it was a really interesting journey for me too, because I was able to close out those 2 years with like, I understand now. It was like a processing of like, I understand what happened now. And I understand where I missed. And this is what I'm going to do differently.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it felt like a reach back for new agents. Like so many people jumped in to help me. Like the amount of mentorship that I did not have that business without them, period. Anybody who says that they're like self-made, okay, a million people must have helped you because that's what happened to me.
Right.
And I was like, well, what if you're out somewhere and you're with a smaller brokerage and you don't have mentorship? Like, what do you do? Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
So I kind of wrote it with that in mind. And then after I finished, I didn't do anything with it for about 6 months. And then it took my coach saying, I'm going to start sending this out if you don't find a way to publish it. I was like, okay, fine. So then I sent it out to 5 different publishers, rejected, 6th one, got it. And then we launched June 2019. And that's when I met you because I walked into your store and I was like, well, I need a book signing place and also will you carry it, please? It's like if I had a dress on, I was like twirling it, It's like no confidence. And just, not any of that. And then yeah, so when we launched the book, it sold out 1,000 copies in 2 weeks. And ever since then, it's just been a remarkable journey. I just feel so embraced by our entire industry and community.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful, it's just
Yeah.
you don't always have that, and it's remarkable, and I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So I want to go back to 2 things. When you mentioned like the people being around you and that you don't do this stuff on your own, you have people around you. So how did you being new to Portland, like how did you build that community? Was it just with your real estate company or did you start meeting people outside of where you were working and the industry? Like how did you build your community as a realtor?
it didn't happen very quickly.
Right.
So at first I had to build the client database because can't call on people you don't know, turns out.
Right. Or that you don't
So
keep track of.
yeah. And so I started a game and I had to add a certain amount of people every week. And I had to get one-on-one belly to belly. I just made all these rules. And it was like a competition because I know, especially at that time, like in my
With
first and
yourself,
second
right?
year. Oh yeah. I have never and will never care about what anyone else is doing.
Yes.
Just if you're doing great,
Realtoring
I'm so
101.
happy for you.
Yeah.
But for myself, like there is a mountain to climb and I'm gonna climb it on my own.
Yep.
And then I found out that's just not true. I had so much help.
Yeah.
So the first was growing that database.
But going back, you still did that on your own. You decided and figured out how it's going to work for you to climb that mountain. And then once you do that, you know who to ask to help because
Yes.
you know what the mission, quote unquote, is
Yep.
or the journey, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So I think a lot of people make that mistake where they don't know it's about that end result. And I always take people to that when they ask me for advice or questions or anything about real estate. I'm like, what is the end result? It doesn't have to be like in life or in your real estate career. It could be like this week or today or per task or whatever. So you make a really good point that you're going to climb that mountain but you know that that's what you're doing. You're climbing that mountain. So now who do I need to help me get there?
Absolutely. Or
So
who's done it
yeah.
already that I
Yeah.
can watch,
Yep.
or maybe they'll take my call.
Yep.
I mean, I was just recently at the Inman Connect, like the digital, their virtual thing.
Oh yeah.
And there was somebody that was talking, and I don't know her from Adam. I called her
Yeah.
because I was like, I need to know why she's saying that. And I think that if we can just get over ourselves, that the person on the other line doesn't want to hear from us, whether it be our client, whether it be another realtor, whether it be someone that needs to support us, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We just need to get over that. And rejection's a thing, and that's just how that's going to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it took me forever to figure that out.
Yeah.
The first year was terrible. I barely had any teeth left. They all got kicked out. I feel like, you
I hear you.
know?
I hear you. Okay, so I interrupted you, my bad. But so
Mm,
going back to your game or your getting to your goal and the people around you.
right. So the first was growing that database, and then the next thing was to figure out the commonality. The thing that I've been learning the most over the last 5 years is that we have so much more in common than we don't, or
Mhm.
than we realize. I mean,
Yeah.
so instead of like picking out the differences, how could I show up in a supportive guidance way, because that's what a real estate agent is. They guide, right?
Yep.
How can I continuously prove that I can do that? And that's sort of been the journey in the last 3 years, is how to show up as myself, because saying that I care and showing that I care are different. And I really want to show that I care in a genuine way. Like, my people, if they need me, I'll drop everything and go. That's
Yep.
just true.
Yep.
And I know that not every real estate agent wants a business like that. It's just who I am, and that resonates with the people around me. So if you choose other people that resonate with what you're interested in, you're going to be successful. It's
Yeah.
impossible not to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I just want to say that as long as I've known you, that's probably one of the first things that came out of your mouth the first time that I met you was exactly that. And here we are a few years later, and it's the same message. And I
Mhm.
think realtors or just people, entrepreneurs, anybody are the same way. You know what it is that what you kind of, I don't want to say characteristically or like a personal journey, but there is a reason behind everything. Whatever that reason may be, it's still a reason. And so the one thing that you keep, and if people can't like identify it or pinpoint it, it's the one thing that you keep coming back to is what it
Right,
is. And there is something.
right.
And if you just take time, or if the realization that it's there, and if you hear yourself saying something 2 or 3 times over again, then listen to that
And write it down
and write it down.
and
That
put
could
it in your business plan
yes.
and make actionable steps on it.
Yes, girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah.
I was gonna say elevator pitch, but yours was much better. But yeah, I think we don't listen to ourselves enough because we have so many people as realtors and in this real estate industry, there's so many people telling you what you should be doing for your business. And I wasn't a coach person and all of my years in real estate. And then I got to a point where I needed coaching on like for money. And I didn't know that, but somebody posted something on Facebook and it sounded like that's what I need. And then she ended up referring me to, she's like, you need a coach. I was like, what? It was actually a money coach. And I learned so much about that. I mean, you can see the direct correlation between obviously money and your business, but for me, I did not see that connection at all. And in a nutshell, the whole thing that I learned, and it still sticks with me right now and today, is that what I was doing was the high for me is chasing the money. Is I know I can get it. So I know I'm always going to be okay, but it's getting there that I love so much. So if I set myself a goal for, okay, I want to make $2,000 this month, guess how much I'm going to make? $2,000. If why not make that goal higher? And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't need that." "Oh, you don't want to retire? Oh, you don't want to
Right.
live on a beach somewhere, when you're retired
Oh, when do we leave for that?
as soon as I retire."
Sweet.
Wait, let me change
I'm gonna
my
need you. It
my
needs to be
threshold.
$10,000 a month. Okay,
Exactly.
because you need to
I
pay for both of us.
right. Exactly. It's all of those things, like, So I think if you just identifying it is again half the battle. And I hear you again, I hear you saying the same thing over and over again. And you definitely have identified that. And it's not hard for you to do because it's who you are.
Yeah.
It's what you
And I
want.
love what I do.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to show up for work when you're working with people that you love working with, that
Yeah.
are like-minded, that care about the things you do. When it's things get struggle happens when you're like, I can't find anything to talk to you about,
Yeah.
right? But then you're like doing this like monster transaction where, someone isn't invested all of their money into this moment with you. And if you don't have like a space for you guys to come together and be connected, I mean, for any human, that's hard.
Yeah.
So why not build a business that lives on that, And
Yeah.
that's really what I wanted to, because when I left radio, one of the things that I identified that I wanted was I want to feel passionate about what I do every day.
Yep.
I really, really, really do. And then when I was able to find time to write the book, it just, everything just felt very complete at that time. I felt very at one with myself.
Yep.
I gotta go hug a tree. Be right back. But
What an epiphany.
it just felt good. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
super dope. Okay. The other thing I want to circle back to was why'd you wait so long to launch the book?
Fear.
Really?
I was a chicken.
What were you scared of?
Rejection.
Yep.
I was worried that it wouldn't be received well. There was a lot about me in it.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, when I wrote it, I didn't write it I wrote it because it didn't exist. So I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about readers.
Yeah.
When I close my eyes to like write, because sometimes I do write when I'm with my eyes closed because I want to see. I need to see the scene. That's weird. Just happens.
Yep. Creative process.
Yeah, you're welcome into it. In a onesie, maybe some coffee. It's probably 4:30 in the morning.
Right. I'll be asleep.
Where were we going with that?
Why it took you
How did
so
I
long?
end up in a onesie on this
Right.
podcast?
Exactly. You took yourself there.
Sorry.
No, the fear part and,
Yeah.
and why you wrote it.
And the same person that got me through my first year got me through that too. And it was Coach, and her name's Lene Forbes. And she said, look, it's needed. And even during the publishing part, there were some things that came up that I called her about. I was like, I'm just not sure. A million reasons to not do something. And she's like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm like, I could be crushed in my whole heart. That's what could happen. And it was the opposite. And it has been the opposite. And again, like, just so fortunate that people are, of course you get bad reviews. I read the first bad review
I remember.
and I just couldn't even handle it at
Yeah.
first. Yeah. I called you and I called Tammy Wittern and I was like, I need to take this book off the market. Remember? I was like, I'm done. And it took, you had to calm me down a little bit because it
Yeah,
sucks for someone to like do that.
for sure. But you also said you were going to climb this mountain no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
And I did. Yeah. And it's funny because you could correlate that right back to real estate. There are times when I have tried to work with somebody that wasn't in connection with,
yeah.
back to this,
Yeah.
where it didn't go well and we parted ways. And I mean, that's going to happen a million times over.
For sure.
And there's lessons in all those. And I've taken to writing them down now.
Yeah.
And that's
And
helpful.
yeah. And I want to say too that again, coming back to you climbing that mountain and the people that you're going to bring with you, instead of listening to yourself or giving up or whatever, you went to people that you knew what you needed to get from them because you knew in your heart you want that you wrote the book, you put all that work and effort and money into it and you don't want to see it go away. But sometimes when you get knocked down, that's how it feels that you're like, I'm done. This is it. But you also knew that who to call and who to tell you that, who's going to be honest with you. And I think, we all need to hear what we need to hear sometimes. And so going to those right people,
I have about 10 now. I have
yeah.
10 people, depending on what the topic is,
I
that
was
I
going to
go
say, you're
to.
really specific about it. So just talk
Mhm.
about that because I think it's so cool.
Well, in the book, I talk about 4 different people that a new agent needs.
No, but
Because I think that,
no,
oh,
but you
sorry.
have 10.
I have 10 now. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to hear about that progression. Nice try.
Did try to get
You don't
out of
have to talk
that.
about every single 10 of them. I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why you choose people to be in your tribe circle.
Well, I think you find out as you grow
Yep.
and you realize that you actually aren't perfect, even a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yep.
That you need to, and I always say hire in, but that's not what I mean. Like find the people, attract the people that when it feels weak, or because we're not built with, not every person is built with the tools to be an entrepreneur. I don't believe I was. So how do I surround myself with people who can help me be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
That makes sense, because there's
Yep.
there's a lot of things about me innately. Like I have stage fright. This is very hard for me to be here. It's really hard for me to talk in public. I'm kind of weird. Like I struggle with sales pitch and closing and all those things that people talk about. I just struggle with it.
Yeah.
So I needed help. And just saying, okay, I need the help. And then talking, I mean, I talked to a million people. That is true. And then when I found the person, I I really invested in our, I was just going to say our relationship, because it matters to me.
Yeah.
Like what you help me with in my life is there's no dollar bill that comes with it.
Right. It's true. So it happened naturally, organically, right? It's not like you were like, or maybe you were with the first few people, like maybe I need a business person. It's almost like building your own board.
Yeah, it happened on accident.
Okay.
The first four, I realized when I got to the other side, I'm like, oh, I had these four people and this is who they were and this is what they did for me.
Yeah.
So I had to find them after. Yeah. Who was it that was saying? Katie Clancy was saying that she had an invisible advisory
Advisory
board
board.
that she
Yeah.
put people.
Yeah, for sure.
Smart. Yeah.
I need to go back and think about that, write all my people down so I know, because I think the more that you are cognizant of those kinds of things, it will help you through situations better. It make you feel not so alone,
Hmm.
and that's another thing that I want to make sure. Actually, let's just segue into that because you and I talked a little prior to the podcast. And one of the things that, I always ask people, like, I want to make sure that we're talking about everything that you want to talk about during the podcast. And one of the things, and I love that you said this, was that you said something's been on my heart and it's pertaining to the pandemic and how people are feeling right now. And when the pandemic first happened is right after the podcast. Like literally we set up half my office was a podcast area and we were going to do local realtors and they were all going to come in. And then I bought really cute chairs and microphone stands and all this stuff. And we were going to videotape it and then all of that obviously was gone. And for the first few months, nobody really talked about like this won't be around too long. So I don't want to create products. I don't want to do masks. I don't want to do stuff that's based around the pandemic. And then we quickly realized that this is actually not very quickly, probably just 4 months ago, 8 months into
You got there.
it. This is not going to go away anytime soon. And so it's becoming a topic of conversation in so many new ways. And so just tell us a little bit about kind of what is on your heart and what are you feeling about that and how are you dealing with it?
Well, there's a few things about the loneliness comment that I've been thinking about. Um, Obviously, I spent a lot of time thinking about new agents because, I mean,
Yeah.
I built a program for them. I wrote a book for them.
Yeah.
And I think about them trying to start a business right now, and I feel for them. And there's a lot of reasons to make excuses right now. I would probably come up with a few myself,
Mhm.
and we got to find a way to push through that. So there are ways to make connection. And I learned a lot from Dale Chumbly about this, about how to get online content offline and one-on-one with people,
Mhm.
even though we are in a pandemic. And he's very smart about this. And I think that the other thing that I think about is my sphere, my group,
Yep.
and just trying to be with them right now and the struggles that they face and I face too. I mean, we're all human.
Yeah.
But I have just, my whole goal since the beginning of the pandemic has just been trying to stay bright,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to find all the other things.
Yep.
And when I look at some of the messaging that I see from real estate agents right now, it's very like, so amazing, this house sold for $1 trillion over
Yep.
price, and I worry about that because it alienates some groups,
Hmm.
and I don't know if it helps your marketing, to be frank. I
Yes.
think that the everyone for our wheel to go around, for the real estate wheel, we need sellers and we need buyers to be
Buyers.
confident,
Yeah.
right? So if we're constantly alienating our buyers, I think it's a disservice. I
I
do. And
agree.
I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about my own messaging and times that I've done that. I mean, I'm certainly not
Yeah.
a saint at all.
I mean,
Just head on over to my Instagram and you'll see that. But I think that we could be a little more united
and conscious
as
about it.
an industry,
Yeah.
but also as a real estate agent being the pillar for your community. Like how can we reach out and support each other,
Yes.
especially right now? And that has been, I've been 12 months on that for sure. Like
Yeah.
I just want to show up again and again and again on it.
Yeah.
So
And I think, being intentional has always kind of been my thing, but how you get to that point of what you're being intentional about. And this is a big, I don't know. I like what you said about, well, I don't want to say I like this part, but I like that you brought it up about alienating other agents and the people that are struggling right now and then see these realtors that are posting. I'm not saying that they shouldn't post their successes, and you should for sure do that
yeah,
and
evidence of
celebrate.
success is fine.
Yeah,
But
exactly. But
But
she
like, why are we dancing in the end zone excessively? Do we
right.
need to call the whistle?
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. Although I do like a little touchdown dance, but
We'll be doing that at the end of this podcast.
oh,
So stick
speak for
around.
yourself.
Tracy's gonna get down.
Chair
Ah.
dance. Exactly. But I think also Marky Lemons Royale is actually just talking about this with
She's
me.
amazing.
She's awesome. And
Yeah.
she said to me, she's just like you. You guys are both, you see something and then you kind of go after it in a way that is in a teachable moment, right? Like I worked with kids for a long time and kids say crazy things, they do crazy things, they drive you crazy. But sometimes there's a teachable moment that is so fast to miss because it already happened. You're like, oh, dang, that was a teachable moment.
Oh, I see. I got
Yeah,
it. I don't have kids, so I'm like,
I
say
know,
what?
right?
I
I'm
got it.
getting there. I'm getting to the real estate part. But she noticed that we're all saying, and I'm guilty of it, is that low inventory, low inventory. And she's like, we need to stop thinking that way because think about it, every house is available for sale. So are you going after, look how many houses there are in your city, neighborhood, area, whatever. It's not just about what's for sale. So she's going to do some stuff around that and how to go after houses that, and building those relationships because a lot of times, we do need inventory and we do need more houses for sale. But also, how can you resolve certain problems or a need in your business? It doesn't have to be like in Portland or in Oregon or whatever. It can be just your business, your clientele, your tribe of people, whatever they're going through, whether you have a whole bunch of buyers and they can't find anything
Mhm.
or sellers that don't know what they're going to do after we're all about solving problems, right?
That's
So
right.
thinking outside the box and sharing that with other realtors, I don't know, I would love to see more realtors do that. You don't have to be a coach or write a book or be a speaker to uplift other realtors and
Totally. Yeah.
talk about that stuff because it really does build your business in the long run. Like,
I think so. Especially in the co-ops, not every co-op is good in a transaction.
yeah,
And that's just how that is. But
yeah,
it kind of depends on who the other players are.
yeah,
But when you have the opportunity to make connection with another realtor, because especially if you're a buyer's agent, on the next go around, you want them to remember you. That was amazing. Shelley tells the worst jokes. Like I
be
hopefully they're
memorable.
watching. The people that I called on my call list today, they all got the same joke. And I was just deciding like, okay, I'm going to count the laughs. And I think there's at least 8
Did it get
people
better over
that
time?
no.
Worse?
Yes.
Same?
And I thought that my
Was it your
presentation
delivery?
of it, I thought it
Or
was better, but actually the more I tried, the worse I got. Doesn't matter. But then after a while, like I have this one transaction that it involves a tenant and we're going to be 120 days before we close. And we talk almost every week. And every
Yep,
week I tell him a joke. And next
yep.
time that I am in co-op with him, he's going to know who I am.
Right. He's
Is he
not
going to like
forgetting
it?
you.
Probably not. But
But, you never know what people are gonna get out of that, if they're
yeah,
like, "Whoa, I love what Shelley's doing in her business," not that he's gonna go and I think we've come out of the whole worried about other agents stealing other agents' ideas or whatever, there's enough business to go around. I think that's
well, that and it's all online.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
All of my buyer's guides, seller guides, go
Yeah,
steal them. They're online. You
everything
can
is
download them right now.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But if another I don't think that you would be offended if another well, I don't wanna say this because maybe you would, but if another realtor just started calling all their clients and telling jokes or whatever, and they could be like,
No,
"Shelley, I did what you did and my clients just loved it. Thank you for that." I think that
I will tell you what jokes to tell them.
exactly. You could
Not the one
you
I
could be
told
like,
today.
"I could text you my joke this week," and then you could tell the same one. That would
Why
be
not,
you.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
look, if realtors as a entire community decided that we were going to be less sharky and more supportive of our community,
Mhm.
it changes everything.
Yeah.
So if you need me to tell you a joke to do that so that you can go out and call your people, then do that.
Yep.
I'm behind you 1000%.
Yeah, I'm constantly like, "You guys, we're all in this together," not just with the co-op part, but also with the way that people look at realtors, and we all
It's really
have a
bad,
yeah, we all
right?
have that
Yeah,
responsibility to make sure that the community and the world knows that agents are necessary and I won't go into the whole Zillow thing. I stay out of that dogfight because it's just so much, it's so
probably a good
opinionated and
idea.
everybody has their own ideas behind that. But if we look at the bigger picture or look at it from a different perspective, that we're all working together for the greater good, which
Right.
is that realtors are necessary and it's a huge, not every single transaction maybe or whatever, but for the most part, if somebody has never bought or sold a house, they should be using a realtor. And
Absolutely.
it's for so
We
many
are we
reasons.
are meant to be the guy to reduce risk for
Yeah.
both buyers and sellers.
And
That's our job,
it could be
to negotiate well, all of
exactly.
that,
There's a long, 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 long list. And so we should be
Yeah,
going down that list and and talking about those kinds of things.
right.
Not I sold another house. I mean, it drives me crazy
Yeah,
because for a long time, I was looking for a house and I was like, I don't want to see the ones that are sold. I want to see the ones that are coming on the market. And so it's all about that perception. And
right.
you got to think about it before you post something. How is everybody going to take this? Is 5 people going to love it and then 2 people are going to hate it? Do I really want that? Maybe you do, but be intentional about that.
I've been writing a new piece, and I just finished writing about that, about alienation in marketing.
Yeah.
You want to bring yes, you want to niche, right? And you
Yep.
want to have your people know that you're successful. Great job. You want to make sure that they know that you're selling in that community. Excellent job. But the moment that you cross the line where someone no longer feels welcome in that message, you're actually losing a pool of people you could possibly talk to. So
Yes.
why would you do that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Try and be as inclusive as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I
No, I
mean,
think that's
I'm not the best marketer. I mean, I have a lot of background in marketing. I used to write for advertisers. But what I would say that we are doing a disservice is just in our messaging, that in the pursuit of showing success, that we're actually, our buyers are no longer they're not confident.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need both. We need it, even
Yeah.
in the seller's market, we still need the buyers to show
Yeah.
up.
Exactly.
They're like, this is too hard. I'll see you in 10 years. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not going to be good for anybody. So,
Yeah. No, again, if we could just keep that kind of in the back of our minds, when we're thinking about what you're going to post or what you want to market or how you want to be seen. That's all.
Right.
There's been times where I'm not going to lie, a realtor will post something and I get a little cringy. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be that person that's like emailing them or being like, I don't know if you really thought of
It's
it. I
not,
mean,
you're not the police.
I know, but I feel bad, like, maybe they just didn't think that way. Now if it's I don't even know if I would do that with somebody I know. I don't know, maybe that's what we need to get better on is
I expect you to tell me.
I
Okay.
would tell you
Good. See?
because I
That's that
know
camaraderie because
because
I benefit from your
yeah, and
honesty.
you're gonna take
Good.
it in the right well, right might not be the right word, but you're gonna take it in a way that is like you're not gonna be hurt by it. Well, maybe you will a little bit, but you're still gonna take the point. You're gonna be like,
Yes.
you wanna hear the hard stuff, and I'm not saying all the time because dang, I'm not taking her call, but you still wanna hear
I
it from
still will take your call. I want to hear it. Tell me everything. If
just
I
a
can be better, I want to be better. The
glutton
end.
for punishment. No, but
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
that, and if you've surrounded yourself by the right people, then obviously you're not gonna have to deal with that. But maybe as society, we do need to do better at both giving and receiving that feedback in a way that is caring. And, if we understood that, I don't know. We're trying to save the world over here, one realtor at a time.
Well,
And
and I think too, like back to that other point, just to circle back, it's probably getting long, but if we're just looking at real estate agency as a whole, right? And we know that we need to do better because, the threat of digital things and people can have other options,
yes,
that we need to prove our value even more.
yes,
So if anybody wants to get stuck on the Zillow thing, I think you're asking yourself the wrong question. The
yeah,
question, and everyone says the statistic, but we don't do anything about it, is under 20% of people use their realtor again. Under 20% of a realtor's business is referral. What is going on?
whose fault is that?
Ours.
Exactly.
It's ours. We need to do better, right?
It's true. It's
So,
true.
how do you get into the mindset where you are going to be serving community as opposed to power and money? I
Yeah,
think that's the separation that we need to get
bring
closer to the
together.
middle on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And then watch your business thrive, right?
I mean, I doubled my business last year in relationship sales.
See, proof right there. Boom.
Ciao.
Okay,
Worked real
so
hard though.
I know,
Doesn't come
right?
easy. Never worked harder in my life, but
Right. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple more things before we go. One thing is we talked a little bit about I don't know if this was during or prior. And so I try not to have too many long conversations before the podcast because I don't want to
sorry.
forget stuff or feel like we
I
already
was
talked
chit
about it.
chatty.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're both yeah. Note to self. But you talked a little bit about how the book has actually helped you in your business. And I know so many realtors are entrepreneurs. Now, some realtors are just realtors and that's it. But a lot of realtors do other things. And I'm not talking about a second job. I'm talking about other things in the real estate industry, whether it be investing, writing books, being a coach, mentor, things like that. How did you writing this book help you in your business? I mean, it seems like there's an obvious answer, but I really want to hear kind of maybe any specifics that you have, but first thoughts that come to your mind when I ask you that.
Well, both the book and the audiobook are passive income,
Yep.
right? So the more money that we make passively, the less we have to deal with the struggle of commission.
Yep.
And then you can show up for your client because you already have the money that you need
Yep.
to just be present and give great relationship and service.
Love that.
Great, really. Can you give great relationship?
Yes.
Anyway. Um,
And commission chasing kind of reminded me of ambulance chasing, but you know what? We
yeah,
all have done it at one point
absolutely.
or
Yeah.
another.
And eventually we need to evolve. And I think we know that, we just don't know how. So let's figure it out.
Love that.
The other thing that I think it helped me understand, I when I released the book, people started writing me letters and calling me. And I got to know a whole bunch of agents all around the
Yeah.
country.
Yep.
Like even Ireland, Australia, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I got to hear what was happening for them.
Yep.
So there was camaraderie there. And that, a lot of them were like 5 years or less. And they had a lot of questions. And I felt that all of a sudden, back to that silo thing, I was no longer alone. The story that I told actually was relevant. It was needed to be told. I was just the one that did it. Anyone could have, because that story could be placed in anybody's business,
Yep.
except for the part where I ruined my back. Maybe that's just me. Anyway.
I digress.
And then I also, I am an investor in real estate because I believe in the product I sell.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should know exactly what I'm selling. So if I own my own house and I own investment property, so that when I turn to someone else, I'm actually knowledgeable about what
Yeah.
I do. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that there should be a strive to make passive income any way that you feel comfortable doing that. I mean, New Agent 365 missions is not that. We are all volunteer. It is $100. I mean, that's not why we built it. We built New Agent to help the industry because it needs more agents that know how to build a business, and they need to have an entrepreneur mindset. And that's what it teaches.
You're going to have a round 3, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Because by the time this airs, your round 2 entries will be closed, but you're going to
Yep.
have a round 3. So
Yep.
let's,
In the fall.
let's talk about that real quick then. New Agent 365 is what do you call it? A course, a class, a module,
Oh, program
program,
slash
12-week,
there's
12-week program,
competition.
the 12 steps.
I think what makes it different is the missions that you get every week, we choose a student of the week. So there's a competitiveness to it where you could win the week.
Yep.
But then also that week, the task that you do is like the first block of your foundation for your business.
Yes.
And then the second week, we put it on.
Yep.
And the third week, and we just you don't have to know anything. You can show up not knowing a thing, and we will show you how to build the foundation of your business.
Yes.
And I think that the mission part of it is what makes it fun. I mean, it's not brain surgery, like I said. So how can we have fun building a business? And everything that we need to be successful already exists inside. And that's true of athletes. It's true of entrepreneurs. It's true of everybody. If we look inside, we will find what we need to build the thing that makes us excited about life. Right.
Yeah.
So what we do in the missions too is everybody's business is going to be different. We're all big snowflakes, right? I build a business, you build a business. They're completely different.
Yeah.
So what are the fundamentals we need to know? And then how do we embrace the new agent to find the community that they want to serve? How do we show them how to find it in themselves to go be awesome, right?
Yeah.
And I think we did a really good job finding a nice middle ground of how we could help an agent but not get in the way of the brokerage and their marketing stuff. Like, we don't want to go that way. We just want to do the basics.
Yeah.
And I think that we did it. I do. I'm super proud of your week. You do the last week. You do the art of giving, and you don't write down your playbook. You're not going to do it.
Right.
Like, so simple of a message.
Yeah.
And then we actually write it down.
Yeah. And right. And do it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And I also, since I got clarity on this earlier, and now I feel like I know what I'm talking about with it, is that it's not just for new agents. It's for people that either want to get a refresher or just need a different perspective, or you feel stuck right now in your business.
Or if you've never been taught relationship sales.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, where do you go to find that?
Right.
That's not really expensive.
Well,
There's lots,
and you
but
can get tidbits and ideas about your business from people that have been in the business a long time. Everybody in your course is freaking awesome. There's
they
12
so
different
are.
people.
Yeah.
You did such
I'm
a great
so proud
job.
of them.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes. You did such
Yeah.
a good job building that out. And I think,
Well, and Stephanie. I
yes,
can't take
you and Stephanie Chumley.
Stephanie Chambly.
And also too, it's not just for, well, it's for realtors, but I also want to say, because I believe that our real estate community involves also our loan officers and our title people, and they're all about building relationships with realtors. And so I think them taking the class, they don't have to do the homework or the writing that stuff down, but being a part of it and understanding realtors more is always going to help. When I first started all things real estate, mainly the thing that we were selling were the home buyer journals. And we had a lot of lenders buying them. Like, it was so awesome because they could give them as gifts to their agents. They could give it to a client, have the realtor's name in there as a resource if they didn't have one yet. But how we market it to lenders was don't be a weirdo and go into an open house. And do you remember that when lenders would, I don't know if you were around, if
Oh, yeah.
they would just come
Yeah.
in and like, show up at your open house and then you have customers coming in and then it's just all weird and
I would get
awkward.
really upset. I
Yeah.
would get upset because I would be like, "Look, I'm in the middle of
I'm
trying to
working.
get these
Yes.
into my so can you we'll talk about your stuff later
But
because you actually need me to do this," you
yeah,
know?
but they were taught to do that. Like go build relationships. But if you're not intentional about why you're there, like if you want to do that, get in and get out. So what we were like, drop by a home buyer journal to them. They'll think that's great, but the reason why they'll think it's great is that you came in and out. Even if you don't have somebody in your open when they would show up, and obviously open houses are just different now and all that, but still
Right.
it's the same concept,
Yeah.
like showing up at somebody's office. Like I would get people that would show up at the store and just wanted my attention, and I would give it to them, and then I'm like, why did I do that? I have like 15 things piled up, or put somebody else off that I had a scheduled appointment with or whatever. Second I stopped doing that is the second people stopped showing up. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like, my office is right by the counter, and so I get to hear it's my favorite part about it is realtors like, "Oh, I love this sign," or, "Oh, what could I do with this?" And I'll be like, "I have some ideas," I can't hold back on that. So that kind of stuff I love, and it's organic. It comes back to that, being you and being
And
organic.
you're being problem solver, right? For
Yeah,
that one person. And it
and I'm
I
getting something
truly
out of that
believe
too. Yes.
it's one person at a time. We used to say that in radio.
Yep.
Like even if you are broadcasting to a million people, you're
Yep.
going to win the heart one person at a time.
Yep.
And it's one on one. So I love that. I love that story.
Yeah.
You probably like made a huge impact in that agent's life that day, you know?
Well, and just getting them excited about real estate again, because I know how hard it is. I'm not licensed anymore. I'm not active, but I know how hard the job is, and it's a freaking hard job. So, realtors celebrate each other, like coming back to all of that. So,
Yeah,
I celebrate you, Shelley, today.
we're better together.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so wrapping up because we could keep going forever,
We
and I think
could.
I don't even know what time we started. So I was gonna say I think we've been at, but I'm pretty sure I checked. I I want you to just quickly talk about your realtoring in Portland in case there's a buyer or seller that's looking for a realtor and came across our podcast. So tell us where they can find you.
I am at shelleyzavitz.com.
And
And I have a ton of information on my site, especially if you want to know how to buy a house right now in 2021. I have lots of insights about that.
that's
And
awesome.
then I have a listening guide if you want. I'm on Instagram as ssavvy,
Z.
Cavy,
Yep.
and Facebook, Shelley Zavitz.
And the book.
The book is at All Things Real Estate Store.
Hey.
Yay! It's on
Good answer.
Amazon
Good
and all
answer.
the other ones. Thank you. Hey, support one another, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And that is your first 365 days in real estate.
that's right.
It's not just for new agents.
It's not, and it's on Audible if you need it.
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Shelley, thank you for being here.
That was a really fun conversation.
I know
Thank
you were
you.
nervous. And I am going to
Always.
tell you, just like I tell all the people that I think this, probably shouldn't put that disclaimer out because there might be some people I didn't say it to, but you should definitely consider doing a podcast because,
Me? No,
yes,
no,
I think you would be awesome at. We'll talk
I don't.
later.
No, I have enough happening. There's enough.
I know, but
Can
I'm
I just
just
come on yours once in a while,
yeah, you could do that, or I could help you with yours. It's really easy.
or not?
And if anybody else wants to do a podcast or talk to me about it, like we've been doing it a year and it's morphed into some things, but it's also been exactly what we wanted out of it. And so I just think it's another avenue for realtors to talk about their business. You can structure it any dang way that you want to. It can be 15 minutes, it can be an hour, it can be just you talking. It doesn't have to be interviews. But anyway, if anybody wants to talk to me about podcasting, we also have a little podcast sheet, but I won't go on and on, but you're a radio person, so I was like, I
Well, I
have
do three things. I do three things you need to know every Wednesday.
see? All right. Well,
But that's not a podcast. That's just like
but it
three
could
things you
be.
need to know about appraisals. Three
Yeah.
things you need to know
Where
about
does that
whatever.
live?
Instagram
Is that it?
and the YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay, well, it's on YouTube, then we can get it other places, but we'll talk about that later.
There's a lecture coming, folks.
Maybe I should turn this off and then turn it back on for the second
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
All right, Shelley, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Love you,
Appreciate it.
girl.
I love you too so much.
And happy Women's Day today as well.
Yes, we deserve it.
Women's Day is every day. So whatever day you're listening to this, it's Women's Day.
That's right.
All right, Shell.
Awesome.
Thank you.